Call of Duty has been ongoing for over 20 years now, and in that time we have seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I've been playing Call of Duty since COD 4 in 2007. I've been making COD YouTube videos since 2009, and still after all this time, I have never once made a COD tier list video. So today that changes. You all know how the tier lists work. I'm going to be ranking all of the Call of Duties on both a personal level opinion and also mixing in some objective takes for each game. Let me know your thoughts and rankings down in the comment section below. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this. So to go ahead and start it off here with the original Call of Duty, I feel like the original COD, we could just put it at C tier. It's the game that obviously started it all. Now, I actually have gone back and played a lot of the original Call of Duty, and I really do enjoy the game a lot. I've played it a lot on PC over the past couple of years. Very fun game, but again, very bare bones. Game had its campaign, multiplayer. I haven't played the original COD's campaign in so long, I really don't remember it, so I don't know how good of a story it actually is. And again, the multiplayer, of course, laid the actual ground level base foundation for what we know today. And overall, it is pretty solid. It has a lot of classic maps that have been remade over the years, such as Carentan, we all know that's Chinatown. Bricourt, France in this game is Wasteland from MW2. The game itself at a very bare bones level is pretty fun, so I feel like C tier is just solid enough for that. Next up here is Call of Duty 2, which I would honestly say out of all of the games that came out before COD 4, COD 2 is easily the best. Now, depending on what your view is of World War II and playing World War II games, I really do enjoy that setting. What I really loved about the campaign in this game is that it had 3 separate stories. It had the Russian, British, and American stories to the game, so I thought that was awesome. On top of that, the multiplayer and the overall look of the game was a vast improvement on the original, so I honestly think COD 2 could probably sit in my personal opinion at A tier, but realistically, it would be B tier. If you're someone who really does enjoy old school first-person shooters, I'm sure you already know about COD 2, but seriously, if you haven't played COD 2, go play it. On a personal level, this was the game that I had played the most while I was playing with one hand and doing the one-handed videos at the time.
Kill streak, I have to like stop, use my right hand. Oh shit, one-handed triple. Oh, let's get it. How does it feel to be tripled by a cripple?
I spent so much time playing COD 2 because it was just that much fun. Genuinely a great improvement on the original game. So for me, I can put it at B tier. Now, honestly, I could have gone ahead and just removed these out of the tier list, but Finest Hour and Big Red 1, I'm gonna be honest, I have not played these games, so I really don't know anything about them. Now, out of all of the mainline Call of Duty games that we have here, Call of Duty 3 is the only game that I can honestly say I probably have less than 10 hours of total playtime on it. I have gone back and played it. Again, it's been so long since I played the campaign, really couldn't tell you anything about it. If I can put my pride aside, I'll find the YouTube video on my channel that I made back in like 2015, because there was a time back in 2015 where a lot of people were going back and playing COD 3. I think FaZe Rockstar had made a montage on it, so the CODcom was actually going back and playing it for a bit. But if there's anything that I remember about the COD 3 multiplayer, there was a near 10-second respawn delay. It was the first COD that kind of introduced Last Stand. For me, there's really nothing to write home about this game. I don't think it was as good as COD 2, so I'll put that in D tier. Call of Duty 4, if you know me at all, I feel like I don't even need to explain this, but I will take a minute to explain this anyway. COD 4 here is literally the foundation of Call of Duty that we know today. Without COD 4 and without the success of COD 4, your favorite Call of Duty game would probably not exist right now. Now, does that make it an S tier game immediately? No, of course it doesn't. Call of Duty 4 is the game that I grew up on. Playing the campaign for the first time, it was amazing. I have gone back and played that campaign, no joke, at least once a year ever since it came out. The COD 4 campaign is so good. There's so many iconic missions to it, all gillied up, one shot, one kill, the nuke scene, the multiplayer, of course, we have some of the greatest Call of Duty maps that started in that game. The way the multiplayer played, prestige mode, create a class, the way the game played was so good. And the thing is too, is that it's so bare bones when you compare it to basically every Call of Duty that came out, starting with MW2 in 2009. Every COD after MW2 2009, you go back to a game like COD 4, World at War, very bare bones. The core gameplay loop that COD 4 had established for Call of Duty multiplayer cannot be understated. That to me, it's an S tier Call of Duty game. We also have to think about the era in which this game came out. And back in 2007, we had COD 4, Halo 3, Gears of War. So this was really, if I'm not mistaken, the first massive modern warfare multiplayer, because people were getting really sick and tired of the World War II setting. Of course, we had sci-fi, fantasy, and Halo, but Call of Duty 4 really is the game that put Call of Duty on the map the way that we know it today. I could sit here and talk about it all day, but the setting of the game, from the campaign to the multiplayer maps, it is just damn near perfect to me. I've been playing it for 17 going on 18 years. This game is just everything to me. There's so much again that I can say about this game, and this isn't a dig at any one of you who might think that, oh, COD 4 is really not that great. You just simply weren't there. And this really goes for every Call of Duty. It's an entirely different experience when you go back to it. If you started with it, that's one thing. Of course, people can go back and experience it and kind of get the idea of what this game did for the franchise at the time, but being there in 2007, 2008, like that right there, COD 4, lifetime of memories. I'm also going to get into this now with every Call of Duty going forward, because COD 4 is obviously the game that really blew up on Xbox 360 for COD. When talking about all of these Call of Duty games, there's also a sense of community that I want to talk about as well. Like, what was it actually like to interact with the COD community when playing these games? In the community back in the day in Call of Duty 4, it was such a different time. It was such a wholesome time because COD YouTube wasn't really picking up at that time. People were just putting commentaries out there, doing whatever they wanted in the game. Nowadays, Call of Duty's all about running the best meta class. Like, what's the best class setup? Back in COD 4, you could run around with like an MP44, double tap, deep impact, and still do well and have a fun time just messing around with the entire sandbox of the game. It was amazing. I know I'm getting a little carried away, but again, I could sit here and talk about COD 4 all day. S tier. One last thing that I do want to say before we jump on to World at War is that COD 4 was also the last game to release with really two main game modes to the game. You had your campaign and your multiplayer. Technically, there was a third mode with the arcade in that you can go through and play the campaign again with those intel cheats. If you picked up all the laptops, all the intel throughout playing the campaign, you get access to the arcade mode and you can go back and play it in different ways, which was fun, but I wouldn't really consider that an actual third mode. So from every Call of Duty from now on, starting here with World at War, there is a third mode that we have to consider, whether it be zombies, spec ops, whatever it might be. I needed to mention that real quick because I know there's somebody in the comment section right now typing up a little comment saying, oh, how could you put COD 4 in S tier? It doesn't even have a third mode. COD 4 at the time didn't need a third mode, but alright, anyways. So next up here we have Call of Duty World at War. Now, I'll go ahead and say this, World at War is in my top 3 CODs of all time, so personal bias, I could put it in S tier, but realistically, we're gonna get into that. On a personal level here with World at War, like I was just saying a little bit ago, I love the World War II setting in Call of Duty. I know a lot of people might find it boring, but to me, World at War is the perfect World War II Call of Duty game. It absolutely nails it in every aspect of the game. The campaign is an absolute masterpiece. Having that two-fronted story with the story of the Russians on the Eastern Front, the Marines in the Pacific, amazing. The Eastern Front missions in this game is like a horror story. It's this gruesome horror story, a story of revenge. It's so good.
What mercy did you show to our people? Wait! He may help us. He can die for us. Muda!
The characters too. Reznov, absolute beast. I would follow that man anywhere into battle. The US campaign in the Pacific Theater focused a lot more on like gameplay dynamics in different ways that the Japanese would attack you. It was just such an immersive campaign. Absolutely loved it. Now at the time though, in 2008, World at War was basically a carbon copy of COD 4. It's basically the same game made on the same engine, just World War II Kona paint over it. I wonder where we're gonna hear about that later on. But World at War at the time in 2008 and 2009 wasn't really as heavily revered as COD 4 was. It still had prestige mode and create a class, had a lot of really good maps, but there was a lack of progression in the game. There wasn't camos for people to unlock, which I know back in the day, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is nowadays. Like imagine they released a Call of Duty nowadays without a camo. There was a whole lot of weapon variety in the game, but the thing is, because it's World War II, there wasn't a lot of automatic rifles. You only had the STG or the BAR. It was a very heavily SMG dominated game, especially the MP40 and the PPSH. What I really do love is the amount of variety it has with all the factions and the weapons that come from each nation.
Flag secured! We must now take the next! They are losing the will to fight! Secure their last flag! Get the next flag! Perimeter secured! They're losing it! Take the last flag!
I do think that's really cool, but again, coming off of COD 4, I see why people at the time were kind of like, about World at War. And of course, when it comes to World at War, this is where Zombies got its start. Zombies is now this massive staple in Call of Duty, and I really love World at War Zombies. It again is very simplistic. I love it a lot. Dairies, probably one of my favorite maps of all time. To me personally, because it's in my top 3, I really do feel like I could put it at S tier, but realistically, I think it could sit at A, maybe B tier at the absolute lowest. Next up here, we have one of the 2 most iconic games that have ever come out of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. The original Modern Warfare 2, just for me personally, I feel like it could sit in S tier for many reasons. Again, The campaign was amazing, an absolute perfect sequel to COD 4, the introduction of Vladimir Makarov, the settings that the game had us in, again, probably one of the most iconic Call of Duty multiplayers of all time. Yes, the game was broken, of course we know it was. Oh, Modern Warfare 2 sucks, it's completely broken. Yes, we're all aware of that, but at the same time, it's like, that's what made the game, ironically enough, very fun, because with everything being broken, everything is balanced. It's so weird. The biggest problem, of course, with the multiplayer is the one-man army noob tubes and the emphasis on explosions, which we'll get into this with Modern Warfare 3, but that's where they really tuned it back. Modern Warfare 2 was literally one patch away, Robert Bowling's Forgotten patch, one patch away from being a game where, again, maybe the original Modern Warfare 3 wouldn't have even needed to exist. Once again, what a coincidence. I wonder where we're gonna see that again. I will say this, though, the feeling of playing Modern Warfare 2, the IW4 engine is amazing. The way that the weapon mechanics, the way that the movement, everything feels in that game is incredible. Again, even talking about the community, this is where trickshotting really blew up. The community, the lobbies that kids wouldn't survive in nowadays.
How the fuck you shoot a gun, you fucking riot shield. What else do you want me to do? Oh, riot shield! I'm a pussy that use riot shield! Shut the fuck up!
This game to me is another generational defining Call of Duty game, just like COD 4, but Modern Warfare 2? Modern Warfare 2 was the game at the time that where Call of Duty just exploded. The cultural impact of that game is just, it can't be understated. MW2, phenomenal. I haven't even talked about it yet, but Spec Ops as well was really, really cool. It was, of course, like just a spin on campaign missions. Depending on how you look at it with what does Modern Warfare 2 offer, how does the game play? Now, of course, nowadays you can't really go back and play it without running into people that are still either noob tubing their hearts out or modding the game, because this is also a game, I didn't even mention that, oh my god, the mods in this game was so broken.
Message to all friends and recent players, I am hosting a 10th Prestige lobby, please send me 1600 Microsoft points and I'll send you an invite, thanks.
If I could go back to any one of these three games in their prime, I would go back and do it in a heartbeat. Modern Warfare 2 at the time was just, wow, I miss it. Depending on how you view the balance and the gameplay alone, I really do feel like it could probably even sit as low as B tier. Most people would probably have it in A tier or maybe S tier, but to me, I feel like really all three of these games can go in S tier. But Modern Warfare 2, in my opinion, is my second overall favorite Call of Duty, even going back and playing it nowadays on IW4X, which is the best way to play it if you still don't already know that. If you want to play it on PC, IW4X is the best way to play it, so going back and playing it there where they have a couple of things fixed about the game, you don't really see people doing one-man army noob tubes because I don't think it really works on 4X. They have a lot of things patched. It's basically the patch that Modern Warfare 2 needed at the time, so it's a lot more playable on that. To me though, personally, I know I could rank it a little bit lower, and realistically it probably would go a little bit lower, but I'm leaving it in S tier. Next up here we have, in my opinion, the best Black Ops, Black Ops 1. The original Black Ops in all aspects of the game is absolutely amazing in my opinion. The campaign, definitely one of the best in the series if you still haven't played the Black Ops 1 campaign. The multiplayer at the time, the multiplayer got kind of shit on by the community at the time in 2010 because the game didn't look as good as MW2. It didn't play as well as MW2, but Treyarch did that intentionally. They had balanced a lot of the game around kind of fixing Modern Warfare 2. Sleight of Hand Pro, for example, in Black Ops 1 does not have the benefit to snipers specifically because they didn't want it to be like another Modern Warfare 2. Really, the only big problem with this game that I can think of that was rectified and fixed in Black Ops 2 was that the Ghost perk in BO1, you could still be stationary and you would be off the radar. Now, again, they fixed that in Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2, you actually have to be moving with Ghost for it to take effect and keep you off the radar. But looking back on it though, Black Ops 1 is really one of the best balanced Call of Duty games we have ever had, as far as multiplayer goes. Great setting as well for the maps. Those DLC maps that we had in the game, Kowloon, Stadium, Discovery, absolutely incredible maps. Like all these 4 Call of Duty games right here, the maps and the settings for every single one of them were amazing. Black Ops 1 was the first COD as well where we really started to see more customization with our weapons and create a class, like custom reticles, custom colors for the reticles. You could create your own emblem, which, yeah, surely that would go over well. You could put your emblem on your gun, you could etch your clan tag into the gun. Like, it was a really, really amazing improvement to the customization as far as multiplayer goes. Black Ops 1 did a phenomenal job with that. And the zombies as well. The zombies in Black Ops 1 is probably my personal favorite next to World at War. Black Ops 1's where I really spent a lot of time playing zombies, and that was also the last time that I actually cared about zombies up until Cold War. One of my favorite zombies maps in the game is Ascension, and I also do love how they had that zombies pack that remastered all of the original World at War maps. amazing game. Across the board, Black Ops 1 realistically could sit in S tier. Even again, despite the community having its problems with the game, oh, the game looks like Play-Doh in comparison to Modern Warfare 2. Black Ops 1, I feel like in most people could probably be ranked in S tier, but for me, I'm gonna put it in A tier. I don't know if you're noticing a trend that these 4 Call of Duties are my top 4. This again was really the golden era of Call of Duty. Now, this is where things start to get a little rocky, to an extent, depending on how you look at it. The original Modern Warfare 3. So real quick, as far as MW3 goes, across the board in all aspects of the game, the campaign really was amazing. It was a perfect way to cap off the original Modern Warfare trilogy. Really enjoyed this campaign. The multiplayer, this is the first time where people were really starting to get a little tired because we saw that Modern Warfare 3 was kind of a carbon copy of Modern Warfare 2. Now, granted, at the time, that was because the falling out of Infinity Ward and Activision during Modern Warfare 2, which I probably should have talked about, but made more sense to talk about it here. If you weren't there at the time, I'm sure most of you may have already heard about this already, but in 2010, there was a split between Infinity Ward and Activision. Jason West and Vince Zampella, they went on to create Respawn Entertainment, which now made Apex Legends, Titanfall, they made all those games, right? This is also when studios like Sledgehammer Games, Raven Software were really brought into the mix to help out with the multiplayer. Spec Ops in the original Modern Warfare 3 was actually incredible. This is genuinely the best PvE experience in the new Modern Warfare games, by far. Spec Ops in Modern Warfare 3 was genuinely so good with survival. They had the chaos mode. Of course, it had that twist on some of the campaign missions where you could do some extra stuff. It actually was the first game where there was progression as far as Spec Ops goes in that third mode. I do wish there was a little bit more to it, like if they had prestige mode in Spec Ops, because I think the max level in it was like 55, and then you could only buy certain pieces of equipment. Like you could buy a lot of guns in the game, a lot of kill streaks in the game for survival, but not the entire arsenal. So it was definitely their first go at it, but it was definitely the best. Modern Warfare 3 Spec Ops, I feel like, is a phenomenal blueprint for what Spec Ops should be in Modern Warfare games. They really need to improve that. But again, like I was saying a little bit ago, Modern Warfare 3 was the first Call of Duty here where people were like, yeah, this is basically just a DLC add-on to Modern Warfare 2, because Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer is great, don't get me wrong, although I will say the game does not look as good nor feel as good to play as Modern Warfare 2. The balance of the game, though, is phenomenal. Like, this is what Modern Warfare 2 probably would have been if Infinity Ward did not have that falling out. Robert Bowling really put a lot of emphasis on that while he was talking about that at COD XP at the time.
This is the most balanced multiplayer experience we have ever done.
You can make the argument that finishing the campaign and balancing the multiplayer was the biggest thing about Modern Warfare 3, really. I will not deny, though, Modern Warfare 3 is an absolute heater of a Call of Duty game. It is a phenomenal COD. We're still within that peak golden era of Call of Duty here. Modern Warfare 3 is great, even though, again, people were kind of like, about seeing the game. At least realizing the underlying meanings as to why we had this game at the time. Nowadays, when it comes to the original Modern Warfare 3, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Modern Warfare 3 rapidly became one of my least favorite Call of Duties, really just because of the way that it is on Plutonium. Back in the Xbox 360 days, this was easily one of my favorite Call of Duty games. I feel like I could still comfortably leave it in A tier, but the experience of playing it nowadays on Plutonium, anyways, for me, is absolutely miserable. I do not enjoy that game whatsoever. Have absolutely no urge to go back and play it, so nowadays, I would probably put it at like maybe B tier or C tier, but overall, the game is an A-tier game. Next up here, like Modern Warfare 2, we have the other most iconic Call of Duty game of all time, Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2, in my opinion, has easily one of, if not the best single-player story in the game as far as customization and replayability goes. Black Ops 2 and Treyarch did a phenomenal job of putting that campaign together. Genuinely amazing. The multiplayer as well, just like Modern Warfare 3, are head and shoulders the best and most balanced Call of Duty games out there, by far. Now, unfortunately, with zombies, I can't really speak a whole lot on zombies with Black Ops 2 because I didn't really play it. I basically gave up on zombies with Transit and Die Rise, and then I literally didn't bother for the next decade, almost. Now, out of all of the Golden Era Call of Duties, this game, oddly enough for me, is the one that I wanted to go back and play the least. Which is weird, because when BO2 was in its prime on the Xbox 360, I got to Prestige Master, I reset myself, went all the way back to 8th Prestige. I love Black Ops 2, don't get me wrong, amazing game. Do I think it's as good as these other games? No, not really. I can already tell there's a lot of you in the comments that are going to get very upset with me about that, and I completely understand. I get it, it's okay. In the golden era of Call of Duty, Infinity Ward was the really popular studio. I was very much an Infinity Ward fanboy over a Treyarch fanboy at the time. Loved Modern Warfare over Black Ops, that's just how I was. I still think these 6 Call of Duty games are just about damn near perfect as you can get it. Even going back and playing this nowadays on Plutonium, at least at the time of recording this video, still going back and doing the whole Road to Diamond series with the snipers, I'm having a lot of fun with that. Black Ops 2 is is a very fun Call of Duty. I feel like nowadays, with the way that I play it on Plutonium, I could easily put this in front of Modern Warfare 3. But overall, to keep it pretty short, sweet, and simple, we all know how Black Ops 2 is. It really is one of the best Call of Duties of all time. I feel like it can comfortably sit in A tier. Next up here, we have Call of Duty Ghosts, which I immediately feel like I could put that in C tier or maybe even D tier. Now, COD Ghosts at the time, right? The campaign was actually a really cool one-off story. Unfortunately, it ended the way that it did, still on a cliffhanger all these years later. Probably still waiting on a Ghost 2.
He'd have been a hell of a ghost. But that's not gonna happen. There ain't gonna be any ghosts.
In really all aspects of the game, especially with campaign and multiplayer, this is really where Infinity Ward was trying to move past the whole Modern Warfare series because it was done at the time. I'll see if I can find anything on this, but I'm pretty sure the internal name for this game while they were developing it was something like Modern Warfare Ghosts. A lot of us at the time in the Call of Duty community thought that COD Ghost was going to be a game based around Ghost. Now again, the campaign was actually a really cool one-off story. I thought the Ghost campaign was pretty cool. Thinking back on it now, it's not really anything to write home about. There was a couple cool missions here and there, but overall with the story, I feel like you could really tell that that was going to be what their plan was to be the first of a new sub-series. Campaign was pretty okay, like I was just saying. The multiplayer is really where Infinity Ward was just trying to throw things at the wall and see what stuck. The best thing about Call of Duty multiplayer that I've talked a lot about is the perk system. They did a great job with that, and I really do think that was a really cool way to change it up. While they took a step forward with Create a Class in the game, they took a few steps back when it came to unlocking things, progression, prestige. There wasn't really a level cap to anything anymore. Like, yeah, there was levels that you would unlock stuff at, but you could just spend your squad points on it and get it right away if you wanted to. Progression was pretty lackluster. Again, the exact same thing goes with prestige. You would just go and create a new soldier, but even if you didn't want to level up that soldier, you could just switch back to the one that was already level 60 and then you're good to go. The maps in Call of Duty Ghost multiplayer were some of the absolute worst at the time. Don't even really need to say it, but Chasm, Stonehaven, Siege, like these are 6v6 maps here, right? That is not a 6v6 map. That is maybe a Ground War map, which, speaking of which, Ground War wasn't available on the Xbox 360 and PS3. But that's where the big problem with Call of Duty Ghost multiplayer lies, is that the maps are far too big for 6v6. The TTK in that game is lethal. Stopping power hadn't been a thing since Modern Warfare 2, and there's a reason why it's gone now, but the TTK and Ghost felt like they were, again, testing hardcore playlists, or that stopping power was just on by default, and you still got shredded. So getting shredded in the blink of an eye on these massive maps really was not a very fun multiplayer experience. I will say though, Cranked and Drop Zone are the two saviors for Respawn multiplayer in Ghost. Search and Rescue was also really, really cool at the time. But again though, actually when it comes to the multiplayer in that game, Call of Duty Ghost did have some pretty fire DLC in the game. A lot of the DLC maps in COD Ghost were actually pretty sick, so I'll give them their flowers on that, but overall I would say maybe a C tier Call of Duty game. Even thinking about it with Extinction as well, I don't even really think I played Extinction a whole lot, and there was only one map that you could play. The other 4 maps were through DLC. Overall, yeah, Call of Duty Ghost, I feel like I really don't need to rant about it too much, but COD Ghost was just not a very popular game, and coming right off the heels of a game like Black Ops 2, kinda hard to pass that one up. It's kinda hard to top, kinda hard to be better than Black Ops 2 in that regard, so I could probably drop it to D tier because honestly, I would play the original Call of Duty before going back and playing Call of Duty Ghosts. So, next up here we have the very first jetpack Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, I'm gonna start talking about this quite a lot here with really all of the jetpack Call of Duties. I like all of the jetpack CODs, I really do. I think all the jetpack CODs are very solid, and I feel like at a certain point in time, it would be nice to go back to a jetpack Call of Duty, maybe, in the future. I would say with Advanced Warfare, I could probably put it at the top of C tier or maybe the bottom of B tier when the time comes. Overall, when it comes to Advanced Warfare, I really did like the campaign. I think it's definitely worth the one-time playthrough if you haven't played Advanced Warfare's campaign. Really cool settings. Multiplayer was so much fun. When that game first came out, I slobbed out on Momentum. I didn't even mention that during World at War. Oh my god. The War game mode, War, Momentum, Assault, and Cold War, genuinely one of the best modes in Call of Duty, and I have no idea why it's not a staple. But Advanced Warfare was really cool. I thought, again, the multiplayer at a foundational level was really fun for a first time going around with the jetpacks. Zombies, honestly, did not really play a whole lot of Exo Zombies. Again, this was when I was checked out as zombie, so I couldn't tell you much about that. But mostly, importantly, when it comes to Advanced Warfare, this is, of course, where we saw supply drops for the very first time. And arguably, next to Black Ops 3, the worst iteration of supply drops, because Advanced Warfare had weapon variants. And a lot of the weapon variants you could only get out of supply drops. Granted, you can earn supply drops just by completing challenges, playing the game and such. That's cool. I feel like if they kept it that way, probably wouldn't have been that bad, but they monetized it. You could start buying supply drops in this game. Basically, it became pay to win. Everyone was trying to unlock the Battle Obsidian Steed or ASM-1 Speakeasy, the Morse Quick Bolt, all sorts of things like that. That right there is the biggest problem with Advanced Warfare's multiplayer, is that the balance of it purely just goes around what weapon variant do you have. It did a lot of really cool things as well. This was also the first time where we had score streak customization, which I thought was actually really, really sick. Definitely a nice way to change it up, give your kill streaks like different perks and bonuses, things like that. I thought was really cool. We still had pick 13. Pick 13 system worked out pretty well for AW, but again, just the biggest problem with that game was the supply drops. Nowadays, for example, if everyone was to have access to everything, so no one is just locked out of a weapon variant behind supply drops, I really do think it's probably a B tier Call of Duty. For now though, just for the sake of it, I'll leave it here at the top of C tier. Next up here, we have Black Ops 3. Now, if you weren't around on the channel at the time, that's okay. I don't blame you. Back in 2015 and 2016, I hated Black Ops 3. The reason why I hated Black Ops 3 real quick at the time was because I hated the campaign. The campaign is absolutely terrible in this game and is genuinely the one thing at the time, and one of the two campaigns in Call of Duty where I would genuinely say it is not worth playing this game's campaign. They named Black Ops 3 because of brand recognition. The campaign has 2 throwaway voice lines, references of Nova 6 and Raul Menendez, overall has absolutely nothing to do with the Black Ops story, and it's just a very badly executed storytelling for a campaign, which is not good. However, though, when it comes to zombies, I know everyone loves zombies. I'm sorry, I missed out on Black Ops 3 zombies. I know this is peak zombies. I know. I am not hip to that. Also with the multiplayer did have a very similar problem to that of Advanced Warfare. Supply drops. Granted, it didn't have the weapon variants, but of course when they added new DLC weapons to the game, they were only in supply drops at the time. But I will say though, Black Ops 3's multiplayer is genuinely one of the best multiplayers I have ever played, and that's just speaking from experience of playing the Black Ops 3 client on PC, where everyone has access to everything. You can just play the game. The maps, the game is absolutely beautiful. A lot of the base maps in Black Ops 3 are genuinely some of the best maps in Call of Duty. A lot of the maps are so solid. I would really only say that game had like 2 misses for maps being Rupture and Gauntlet. Those are the only 2 maps I genuinely do not care about in Black Ops 3. Playing it for the better part of 2 years now on the Black Ops 3 client and a little bit on Steam before that, I was really like, okay, I see the appeal of Black Ops 3 now. I get it. I was wrong at the time, but Black Ops 3 overall, A-tier multiplayer. That game's multiplayer, phenomenal. If everyone has access to everything, for that matter. But overall, the game just feels amazing to play. Depending on how you look at the specialists, yeah, specialists are a little obnoxious. Probably talk a little bit more about that when it comes to Black Ops 4. But overall, man, Black Ops 3, I really do think is one of the best feeling, best playing, best looking Call of Duty multiplayers we have ever had. Honestly, I would put it above Black Ops 2, for that matter. Once it allows me to put it over Black Ops 2. Yeah, there we go. Going again off of my experience nowadays with the Black Ops 3 client, Black Ops 3 is just a phenomenal Call of Duty game to play. At the absolute worst, I would put Black Ops 3 in B tier, but I really do believe it is worthy of A tier. Maybe S tier depending on who you are and if you really like the jetpack CODs or really love Black Ops 3 zombies, but for me, I think realistically, it could sit comfortably in A tier. Only thing that drags this game down, really, is the campaign and supply drops, because my god, that was terrible. Next up, we have Infinite Warfare, which I would honestly go as far to say that Infinite Warfare is probably one of, if not the most criminally underrated Call of Duty there is in the franchise. When it comes to zombies, I've heard a lot of really positive things about zombies, especially zombies in Spaceland. Again, I never played it, but I'm going off of everyone's word. Just about everything that I've heard about zombies, people actually really enjoyed IW Zombies, or at least it was surprisingly good. The campaign as well is one of the most emotional campaigns I have ever played. I loved the IW campaign. I went back and played it in 2018, which we're going to talk about this year in a little bit with MWR, but in 2016, I completely skipped out on IW. I just did not care about it because they remastered my favorite game that year, but it again wasn't until 2018 where I went back, played Infinite Warfare, gave it a chance, and was like, oh damn, this game's actually really good. I know a lot of people viewed it as a Black Ops 3 kind of carbon copy thing, that Infinity War were just playing it safe after Call of Duty Ghosts, but Infinite Warfare to me was a very surprising game for how good it just felt to play. It did have the problem of supply drops and the weapon variants that, yes, you could technically earn everything for free in the game, which I do think Infinite Warfare did a good job with their supply drops. Again, giving the option to earn everything in the game by opening supply drops that you earn for free to gain salvage, to use a salvage to unlock weapon variants in the game. That was a little bit better, but it's still kinda eh. When it comes to all the jetpack CODs, I think I could put it in B tier or maybe at C tier at the minimum, but again, it's gonna go above Advanced Warfare. Campaign was great, really enjoyed the multiplayer. One thing that I enjoyed about the multiplayer, again from my experience on PC, was that I wasn't able to play DLC maps on this game just because it's not really a thing on PC, but a lot of the base maps in this game are actually pretty good. When I would be playing Infinite Warfare, it's just 6v6 team deathmatch, but I could even get a map like Crusher, for example, and be like, yeah, I'm cool to play Crusher. Not a phenomenal map, but I mean, it's still one of those off maps where I'm like, yeah, I can play this. But I still think that's what was most surprising about going and playing Infinite Warfare, that all of the base maps in that game were very solid to play, and I enjoyed them. I actually just talked about this in my recent Infinite Warfare video that I uploaded about a month or two ago at this point in time, that one thing that I really do appreciate is them adding in the classic weapons to the game, like the Intervention, UMP-45, S-Ravage, the SPAS. Infinite Warfare, with the way they handled things, was very solid, and I really did enjoy it. In my opinion, just a surprisingly pleasant game to play. I could probably put it here, bottom of B tier, maybe on top of Advanced Warfare at C tier. I think for now, though, I'll just go ahead and leave it at B tier. Next up here, we have the Call of Duty that is tied with COD 4 at my number 1, Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, I know, there's going to be a lot of people, COD 4 purists like myself, who are going to get very angry with me about this, but just let me explain myself here for a minute. At the time, though, I will admit I was very upset with Modern Warfare Remastered when they started adding in new things to the game. I totally get that because it's no longer a remaster, it's a remake, a reimagining, if you will. This is really the game where I know that I could rant a lot about, but just hear me out with this. Obviously, Call of Duty 4 is my favorite game of all time. I got the posters framed behind me. I have a framed copy of COD 4 with an MWR poster. I love the game. So for one, at just a base level, I love COD 4. I love what they did with the remaster because the game, graphically speaking, is stunning. The game is so beautiful. They did such an amazing job with the remaster, and I wholeheartedly believe that the way that Raven Software handled it is literally the best case scenario for handling a remaster. Now, granted, the thing is that I was very upset at the time with Modern Warfare Remastered, with them adding in things to the game that weren't there in the original. I understand at that point in time it no longer makes it a remaster, it's more of a remake, a reimagining, but the thing is, you have to understand that they needed to do it. They had to add stuff to Modern Warfare Remastered. They had to take a game that came out in 2007 and make it appealing for a Call of Duty fan base now in 2016. This is what I was saying at the time when it comes to the customization with like MW2 and Black Ops 1, where they really started to pick things up. Even when I was talking about COD 4, people going back that didn't start with COD 4 World at War, they have to go back. They don't have that I started with it kind of appreciation for it. Again, this really isn't me trying to be like gatekeepy or holier than thou. I am better than you because I've been playing the game longer than you, so you don't understand. I'm really not trying to make it sound that way or come off like an asshole in saying that, but that's really the truth of the matter. If you started with Modern Warfare 2, there is already a foundational level of customization in your head to what you can expect from a Call of Duty game. Obviously, things are supposed to get better. They're supposed to add things to the game over time. It is very difficult to take a game that was very foundationally bland when you think about it in comparison to everything that came out after 2009. You have to find ways and find things to make it more appealing. I get that. You have to add things to the game that make it more appealing. There has to be more camos, more reticles, more weapons, things like that, because 2007 at a foundational level is very different compared to everything else that came out after that. The skeleton of Modern Warfare Remastered. That game, at its core, is Call of Duty 4 Remastered. The DLC weapons that they added to the game, while I understand changed the balance of it, like for example, the BOS 14 completely breaks it nowadays, I felt like all of the weapons that they added made sense to add into the game. Even the MAC-10, for example. Fun fact, the MAC-10 was a cut COD 4 weapon originally. Things like that made sense, or even adding in things like the dedicated melee weapons. I thought that was actually kind of a nice touch. It's a nice touch thinking back on it, but at the time it was kind of weird because it's like no one really ran around with melee weapons in COD 4. Obviously that wasn't a thing. And as a note with DLC and how they handled supply drops in MWR, it is literally the best system of supply drops we've had in Call of Duty. Everything you would unlock in supply drops were in collections. Everything that was unlockable in the game was in collections. There wasn't any sort of hidden weapon variants or weapons that had different attachments or, you know, underlying perks changes to them like AW and IW. What you saw was what you got with Modern Warfare Remastered. You could legitimately unlock everything, and I mean everything, without spending a dime, which is crazy to think about nowadays. You earned salvage and supply drops at a really solid rate in that game, and you could unlock literally everything with them. You didn't even have to open your wallet, which again, crazy for the supply drop era. The way that Raven Software, though, had faithfully recreated Modern Warfare Remastered and kept a lot of the original COD 4 quirks in the game. There's a video from Nero Cinema, which I'll go ahead and put up in like the title cards, or I'll go ahead and make a cutaway to it real quick. Shout out to Nero for this. Raven Software added in a lot of things, a lot of the COD 4 quirks that they probably easily could have fixed from COD 4 going into MWR, but they kept those COD 4 quirks, like the Scorpion reload bug, the suppressed G3 knife not working, the M40 ACOG actually being broken in MWR, the AK-47 being the best with no attachments. I could sit here all day talking about this kind of stuff, but just the way that Raven Software had handled MWR was the best case scenario for how you handle a remaster. I know there's also a lot of people that are going to say things, oh, it didn't feel like COD 4. That to me, I don't quite get, unless you're literally speaking like, oh, it's not IW3. Like, yeah, it's not going to be IW3. The one really bad downside to MWR, though, was the PC port of this game. That was a real letdown. The way that MWR runs on PC is really, really bad, and the PC just version of that game, not having server browser, dev console, things like that, a huge misstep, a huge shot in the foot right there for how good MWR truly could have been on PC. But yeah, that's my thing about MWR. Obviously, I love COD 4 to death, so remastering my favorite game, graphically speaking, it looks amazing. Even though I was so upset at the time about them adding DLC stuff to the game, they had to do it, and I get it. After all these years, if Modern Warfare Remastered, for example, was the game that they had just kept releasing like seasonal updates, like imagine seasonal map variants or new seasonal events, things like that, which yeah, actually the events in that game like Shamrock and all and Days of Summer, they did so many amazing things for that game. Modern Warfare Remastered, if that was the game, for example, that was really treated as like games as a service or a live service game, you would not see me on any other Call of Duty. I love what they did with MWR. That to me is tied with COD 4 at my number 1. If I really had to choose, COD 4 would be number 1 and MWR is number 2. So not a really giant surprise. I understand why they added DLC stuff to the game. It's a beautiful game. It's my favorite COD. It's a remaster of my favorite COD. I love MWR. There's really nothing more I could say about it, even though I probably just yapped your ears off about it for the last like 5-10 minutes. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. The next Call of Duty here. Call of Duty World War II. COD World War II was the return to form. That was the end of the jetpack era. And on launch, a lot of people were not very happy with COD World War II. I will say, overall, COD World War II was a pretty alright, solid Call of Duty game all the way up until they did the whole multiplayer Division overhaul in like March or April of 2018 at the time. COD World War II became so much better once the Division overhaul update came to the game, and I know a lot of people say, oh, COD World War II sucks, and they didn't try it after that. You need to play World War II nowadays. Campaign for World War II was really good. I didn't play zombies, can't tell you about that, but it was a nice, fun, one-off story to the game. There are a few things about it that I really do wish COD World War II had did, and that was more of a focus on more theaters of the war instead of just America versus Germany. But the story was more of a band of brothers kind of feel, which I did enjoy. The multiplayer, again, was solidly okay. The game feels really good to play, but a lot of the maps in the game are kind of for the most part. I feel like Sledgehammer was taking it really safe. Not to mention, Sledgehammer was also taken off of what we thought was going to be Advanced Warfare 2 at the time in favor of World War II just because of the feedback of jetpack CODs. And the way they did their map design, Sledge was playing it pretty safe. A lot of the maps in the game are okay. I will say though, overall, COD World War II really is one of the best feeling Call of Duties to play. Like, it is a really good COD. A lot of the weapons in that game are great. Sniping is amazing in that game, and again, when it comes to the DLC weapons, World War II messed up a little bit when it comes to collections because they had the exact same system as MWR, but the problem was there were still certain variants only locked behind supply drops. The Faithful 2. World War II, in my opinion, was a solidly okay game, but the way that they went about it, though, the way that Sledgehammer was updating the game, once they overhauled it, all of the events in that game, the way that it felt to play World War II was actually really good. I would say, realistically, I could put it at the top of B tier, because I feel like in most cases, I would probably play, well, these two games over COD 2. The way the game plays nowadays, though, and after what they did with it, I would say it's worthy of maybe at A tier, at the absolute highest, but I really did enjoy COD World War II. Next up, we have Black Ops 4, which I honestly thought that Black Ops 4 at the time, that was the Call of Duty that I genuinely thought I was going to hate. It's going to embarrass me doing this, but I'll go ahead and play the clip for you guys.
Here is the worldwide reveal trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 multiplayer.
Oh, okay. All right.
God damn it!
It's almost exactly like Black Ops 3. Oh my.
I was so pissed off at the trailer for that game because I was like, oh my god, it's going to be like Black Ops 3. Which, yes, Black Ops 4 really is like Black Ops 3, just without the jetpacks, but I was so genuinely surprised with how much I enjoyed Black Ops 4. Now, granted, in 2018, this is before I went back to Black Ops 3, so Black Ops 3 was still my most hated Call of Duty at the time. But I was so genuinely surprised with how much I was actually enjoying Black Ops 4. Honestly, I would say nowadays, I could probably put it like somewhere somewhere here in B tier. Again, maybe at the worst, like top of C tier. Again, I didn't play zombies in this game, but the one thing that really did upset me with Black Ops 4 was the lack of a campaign, but after how bad the Black Ops 3 campaign was, I kind of get why they had to cut it. They were also kind of planning this open world co-op style for campaign, which honestly, I get trying to try something new, but I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it would have been something really cool, but I, again, just understand why they cut the campaign. The way the multiplayer played was really solid. I think one of the only other problems with it really was the Black Ops Pass. The way they handled the DLC was kinda and some of the DLC maps kinda I didn't even really get to play that many of them because it was dead on PC. The way that Black Ops 4 plays, though, is really good. A lot of the weapons are really good. The game feels good to play. I like it a lot. The only problem, again, came from supply drop weapons because they reverted back to the way that it worked in Black Ops 3. There was no collections, there was no way to earn things for free, you just had to get them in supply drops. But when Modern Warfare came out in 2019 was when they actually gave us the option to trade like 50 supply drops for any weapon in the game. So it's like, if that was there off rip, then sure, that would have been great, but that wasn't the case. Blackout was something that I also thoroughly enjoyed. I loved Blackout.
Let's go! Let's go!
It was their first try with Battle Royale because when 2017, when Fortnite was blowing up and COD World War II was out, I didn't even mention that during COD World War II. Oh my god. Yeah, World War II kind of took a hit because of Fortnite. Black Ops 4 came out with the Battle Royale, but again, the big problem with it was that it was still locked behind the paywall of Black Ops 4. You had to pay the $60 to get access to Blackout, and it wasn't crossplay. I feel like if Black Ops 4 was the first Call of Duty to really go into that crossplay era, that free Battle Royale era, who knows what would have happened with Warzone as we know it. Also, I really don't know what happened to Blackout on PC, but that game ran like trash for me. During the beta, I was able to stream and play Blackout at like 60 FPS off of one computer that had like a Ryzen 5 and a GTX 1060 at the time. The game comes out, it's like less than 10 frames a second. I don't know what happened. Overall, again, with Black Ops 4, I would have to say I had a very pleasant experience with that game. I really did enjoy it a lot. I feel like it can comfortably sit right there for me, like middle of B tier. Now, I'll go ahead and talk about COD Mobile real quick before we get into the next game. I would put COD Mobile like maybe like right here at C tier. I haven't really played it a ton, not enough to put it down here because I actually did play a good bit of COD Mobile at my phone while I was at work. A couple of years ago when I was working my lifeguarding job at the gym, right, I'd get there at 4 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes some mornings would be so dead I'd just be sitting there playing COD Mobile on my phone because I literally had nothing to do. COD Mobile is actually surprisingly fun, and I really do think that that's going to be the basis for like a best of Call of Duty. If Call of Duty really stops coming out with annual releases, that COD Mobile would basically be the foundation of how Call of Duty would go forward. At least that's the way that I imagine it. So for what it is right now, I enjoyed it, but definitely not enough to be like, yeah, I really want to go play COD Mobile. And now here we go with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Yeah, I can already tell a lot of people are going to be very upset with me about this. Modern Warfare 2019 might be the Call of Duty that put Call of Duty back on the map for a lot of people, but I feel like a lot of that really ties into the lockdowns when Warzone came out. COD really struck lightning in a bottle with Verdansk, and actually today, the day that I'm recording this video, is March 10th, 2025. This is the 5-year anniversary of Verdansk, and they just announced it coming back. So when it comes back to Black Ops 6, we'll see how that goes. I'm recording this so early in advance because at the time that this video goes up, I'm actually going to be out on vacation. Besides all that though, I really do feel like a lot of people's memories with Modern Warfare are tied to Warzone. I'm going to say this in the most respectful way possible. Modern Warfare 2019 is by far the worst Call of Duty Respawn multiplayer experience I have ever played in my entire life. I can totally respect Infinity Ward for trying something new with Modern Warfare, but oh my god. You mean to tell me that they weren't going to have a radar in a Respawn multiplayer game that had it working perfectly for 12 years prior? We're going to have some of the worst design maps, some of the largest design maps for core 6v6 multiplayer. We're going to spawn you at the back of the map over 100 meters away. We're going to take away dead silence. Everyone sounds like an absolute elephant with Dorito boots on running around the maps. We're going to make some of the most lethal weapons in Call of Duty, and that when you die in the blink of an eye, you spawn all the way in the back of a map. Not to mention, when you play a COD 4 map, you're going to spawn in an area that didn't exist in the COD 4 map. What they did with Modern Warfare, this was the biggest kick in the dick to me at the time. I almost quit Call of Duty over this game. Modern Warfare was the game that I was the most excited for and the biggest letdown that I had ever experienced. honest. The campaign, phenomenal. I actually really did love the campaign in this game. Spec Ops was terribly broken on launch. I haven't played it since, so I have no idea. The multiplayer is just terrible. Across the board for me, Respawn multiplayer, besides Hardpoint, absolutely horrible. I hate what they did with the COD 4 remakes in that game. Hardpoint, again, is the only way to actually enjoy Respawn multiplayer in that game. And Hardpoint is good. I will give it its props. Hardpoint is good, graphically speaking. Modern Warfare is a beautiful Call of Duty game. The attention to detail, the art design, everything about that on that level is S tier. Like, Infinity Ward did an amazing job with that. But here's the thing. I do not care how good the game looks if it plays like trash. Again, in the most respectful way, I disagree wholeheartedly on a foundational level what they did to Call of Duty multiplayer. They ruined Call of Duty multiplayer in this, and we are still feeling the effects of that 6 years later. Modern Warfare 2019 and its consequences were a fucking disaster for the Call of Duty community. Okay, I need to calm down, because again, I know people are gonna sit there and tell me, oh, Search and Destroy was so great. Yes, Search and Destroy is great. That's cool. Oh, Ground War is great. That's cool. I don't want to play Battlefield. While I do wholeheartedly respect those takes, we are playing completely different games at that point in time. Search and Destroy was really, that's just how the game was really built, honestly. Like, I see the map design, that is a very Search and Destroy-esque kind of game. I totally get that. That's cool. And Ground War, I know a lot of people like to talk about Ground War like that was really cool, and it was. I will give it its props. Ground War is great, but that's not what I play Call of Duty for. And I'm sorry to say this, but in like 95% of the times where people are telling me that Modern Warfare is one of their favorite games, they only play Search and Destroy. It's like, I get it, man. Search is great in that game. That's cool, but it doesn't matter when the game modes play like dog shit on the rest of the maps. Like, I'm sorry, it's bad. Just about everything that we knew about Call of Duty and the way that Call of Duty multiplayer plays on a foundational level was just thrown out the window with 2019. And I get it, because also, again, as well, this is really when we saw the biggest introduction to what we know now of skill-based matchmaking. Respectfully, again, this is coming from the developer's mouth. The game was made for lesser skilled players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things we really want to do with this game is we want to get new players in the game, and we want them to kind of like, we don't want them to just get punched in the mouth over and over again until they leave. We want a healthy ecosystem. We want a lot of players in and having fun, and that's a big focus for us. It's a big focus for us in weapon design. It's a big focus for us in level design. Our weapons are a bit more lethal than they were in the Black Ops, the recent more Black Ops, and that helps a lower skilled player get a kill when they otherwise wouldn't, have some success, and then feel like now there's a desire to get better and to get another kill. Our maps are a little bit more porous, and we want those players to have a safe place to take their time, to learn how to turn and move and then shoot, put those pieces together, and then they see someone and be like, oh, okay, now I can do this. So yeah, it's a big focus for us.
But that approach that you're describing there isn't going to come at the expense of the hardcore players, right?
That's not the plan, right? But we want to make sure that we don't want someone who's how to say this, lower skill to have a bad experience. We want someone who's higher skill to have a bad experience. And so we have to make choices in how we matchmake for that. And that's something that we put more focus on this game than we have in other games.
Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you're a bad Call of Duty player if you enjoy Modern Warfare 2019. There is a lot to enjoy about this game. And again, on an artistic sense, game is amazing. As a matter of fact, in 2023, I went back and was playing a lot of Modern Warfare 2019. I was playing a lot of Hardpoint. I got some clips on that game that I'm really excited for you guys to see at one point in time. But just the way that game plays, every single time I go back to it, yeah, the game feels great to play. Yeah, the game is beautiful. Yes, the weapon inspects, the skybox. Yes, it's very pretty. But holy shit, it is miserable to play. Like, that game is just, from the ground up, I respectfully, wholeheartedly disagree on a foundational level of how that game was made. That's it. Speaking of which, Warzone, the biggest part about Modern Warfare 2019, why everyone loves Ground War and Verdansk and Warzone so much. The original Warzone. Or Warzone as a whole, I mean, honestly, like, I like the game for a battle royale. Like, I don't play Warzone a whole lot. Even in Modern Warfare 2019, I played it a good bit. I had like 3 days of playtime in it. That was the biggest thing about Modern Warfare 2019, but ever since that point in time, Warzone, I feel like, has again taken a lot of steps forward and a lot of steps back. I will say though, again in the most respectful way possible, as someone who primarily focuses on multiplayer, I don't like what Warzone has done for Call of Duty and what it's done for multiplayer, because it's made multiplayer, the paid experience of the game, feel like an extension of Warzone. And I really, I see it now. I really see it now, especially with all the news that we heard about Verdansk leading up to this point in time. Again, we'll see how it goes now that it's released. Again, by the point in time this video goes up, how well Verdansk actually may or may not change it for Black Ops 6, but the rumor for Modern Warfare 4 being that they're probably going to can Warzone if Verdansk doesn't do well. If throughout the rest of this year in 2025 going into 26 that Warzone isn't doing great, they might stop support for it entirely with Modern Warfare 4. But what my hope is that it becomes its own separate experience. Take the best guns, do whatever you want with the movement and that, and just leave that be a Warzone thing. Because Call of Duty multiplayer has now become a byproduct of what Warzone is. For what Warzone has done to Call of Duty and really making it feel like a weapon leveling simulator a lot of the time, I could put it down here in D tier. What it's done for Call of Duty, like what Modern Warfare and Warzone have done for Call of Duty both, like could be sitting up here in S tier, but they're not. Not for me anyway, not the way that I play and enjoy Call of Duty. I know it sounds very old-headed, very old-head coded, that yes, I still enjoy arena 6v6 multiplayer. So for me, Warzone, I see the appeal of it. Like, yeah, it's cool, it's great. I just wish it was its own thing, and I would put it at C tier. Next up here, we have Black Ops Cold War, which I know a lot of people are going to be like, wow, that game is so dogshit compared to Modern Warfare. Black Ops Cold War and the way that that game was developed, it is an absolute miracle that game even came out in the first place. I won't talk about it too much, but if there was ever a year to really drop Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, would have been 2020. But across the board though, when it comes to Black Ops Cold War, I would genuinely put this game at an A tier game. Now again, I know I'm probably going to get roasted for this, but hear me out. The campaign, absolutely phenomenal. The rebooted story that they did for Cold War was amazing. All the characters that they had, the setting, story, aesthetic of everything that they did was incredible. If you haven't played the Black Ops Cold War campaign, you need to play it. It is so good. The zombies. This was the first time I was actually invested in zombies since Black Ops 1, which I understand now in hindsight after playing Black Ops 6 zombies. Yeah, Cold War zombies was very easy. It was made for someone like me to get back into it. I get that. I am the statistic of that. I will wholeheartedly agree with you on that. The multiplayer was a return to form. I didn't even say this during Modern Warfare 2019, but holy shit, they took out Prestige mode. They brought back Prestige mode to an extent, at least anyway, in Cold War. I really appreciated that. Thank you. The multiplayer across the board was definitely very rough at launch. It really was. We had like 8 maps at launch. They added Nuketown like a week later. It was very, very rough at the beginning of it, but it only got so much better. Like by now, if you go back and play Cold War now, actually, amazingly well done game. Cold War was just the unfortunate circumstance of needing to release a game despite being in a global pandemic. The way the game felt to play, I enjoyed it a lot. I know some people are going to be like, oh, the movement is so trash compared to Modern Warfare. It's crazy how the game to me felt so much better when there wasn't tac sprinting, because it's like, wow, you don't need tac sprinting in Call of Duty multiplayer. You could just have a faster based movement speed on more maps that were actually designed for 6v6 multiplayer, and it's crazy how much better it plays when there's dead silence, red dots on the radar, where you're actually knowing where you're supposed to go and where the enemies are, instead of being like, oh, let me look at my compass, maybe they're over there somewhere, I don't know. It's very much a completely different mindset. I totally get it. The way that I have been playing Call of Duty is very direct feedback. Respectfully, I'm not playing Escape from Tarkov. So when Treyarch brought things back in line to how I feel like they should be for a Call of Duty multiplayer, I preferred it so much more. And again, a lot of the maps that they added, a lot of the weapons that they added, the feeling of everything in Cold War was great. The biggest problem with this game, though, as far as multiplayer went, was the score streak system, and I really wish they just reverted back to a normal score streak system. It's also a big part of the reason as to why skill-based matchmaking with Cold War specifically felt so much worse in this game than Modern Warfare at the time. You go on 1-5 kill streak, then all of a sudden your average SPM is over 500. Like, no shit, the skill-based matchmaking felt like we were getting kicked in the head consistently. Putting the skill-based matchmaking and the score streak system aside, the game in all 3 game modes that you get out of the package now with the campaign, multiplayer, and zombies is great. I really do enjoy Cold War, and I really do think that it could even potentially be a top 5 COD for me, truly. I would probably put it ahead of Black Ops 3 just because, again, when I compare it to Black Ops 3, horrible campaign, don't know much about the zombies. Cold War to me was a surprising breath of fresh air that I really needed for Call of Duty multiplayer. And just campaign and zombies as well. Like that game, I really enjoyed it. Next up, we have Call of Duty Vanguard, the greatest Alright, so Call of Duty Vanguard. Where to start with this game? Oh my god. goodness. Vanguard to me was a game that I was really excited for and ultimately let down, mostly just because I just really did not like what they did. I thought the setting of the campaign was cool. Like, yeah, we got more theaters of the war. That's what I was looking for after COD World War II. I should have probably said this already, but I have a lot of reviews up on games like Modern Warfare, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, MW2, MW3, and soon to be Black Ops 6 if I haven't already posted it by now. If you really want my full thoughts on the Warzone era Call of Duties, by all means, I'll leave those videos down in the description below. The thing about Call of Duty Vanguard's campaign is that it's very similar to Black Ops 3 for me, where I'm just like, I really don't feel like it's actually worth playing at all, truly. The Vanguard campaign was a massive letdown because I thought it was supposed to be hunting down Hitler's predecessor, and that really wasn't the case. Maybe for the first and last mission of the game, but that's it. 90% of the story is just background of the characters, which we knew nothing about, so it just kind of felt very... The multiplayer was just a World War II coat of paint over Modern Warfare 2019. The zombies, yeah, I played the zombies a little bit, but I don't think the zombies was good. Yeah, they added Chino Numa, they added round base later on into the game, but I was so tapped out at that point, it's like, I don't even really care. To say it in the nicest way possible, I was just not interested in Vanguard zombies. In most cases, I feel like I would probably play Vanguard over Modern Warfare for 6v6 multiplayer, but honestly, the both of them, I feel like, are just tied for the worst. We're down to the last 3 games here. Modern Warfare 22. Now, Modern Warfare 22, I will say, was again, I had a near hour-long review of this game. I would say it was a very slight improvement over Modern Warfare 2019. As far, again, as 6v6 Respawn multiplayer goes, because that's what I focus on.
That was an improvement, but it's not hard to improve on garbage. Try it again.
The thing about Modern Warfare 22 and Modern Warfare was that the games did get a little bit better over time. Like the DLC maps in 2019 were better. The maps that they added to Modern Warfare 2 were actually pretty okay for the most part. Again, the launch maps in MW22 were better than 2019. But again, this was Infinity Ward's doubling down of how they wanted to do Call of Duty multiplayer at the time. No red dots, no dead silence, no slide canceling anymore. They got rid of the movement. They got rid of reload canceling. The way they handled the COD 4 remakes of Strike and Showdown were actually pretty okay. They didn't ruin shipment in Modern Warfare 22, which I really should have spent more time talking about in Modern Warfare, because it's like, yeah, everyone just loves playing shipment, right? It's crazy how in Modern Warfare 22, once you actually add the angled containers back to the map, that you're no longer spawning in the center of the map anymore on shipment in 2019. Wow. It's actually crazy when you just leave the COD 4 designs the way that they were intended to. Wild. For me, though, I thought Modern Warfare 22 was okay. Like, I thought it was better for multiplayer, but really not by much. I think I would put it under Call of Duty Ghosts, honestly, and when I think about the campaign was kind of, at least the characters made that campaign a lot better. Couldn't really tell you much about Spec Ops or DMZ and MW2. Didn't really play it. Multiplayer was a little better, but really not great. So, next up we have Modern Warfare 3, which I know a lot of people right away are going to be like, oh, that game is so trash. It's a DLC to MW2. Regardless of all of that, what Sledgehammer did with Modern Warfare 3 is something that I fear we might not ever see again. Now, when it comes to Modern Warfare 3, I have an hour-long review of this game, so if you really want to hear my opinion of that, go check out that video. Modern Warfare 3, in short, I love what they did, at least with bringing the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered maps back. We got the best case scenario for MW2 Remastered, because realistically, we're probably not going to get MW2 Remastered unless it's a break glass in case of emergency kind of thing. There's a whole lot of other reasons for that I get into in the review if you want to go check that out. Modern Warfare 3 is the Modern Warfare game that I wanted 2019 to be, essentially. It had all the MW2 Remastered maps, and all of the maps that they added in DLC were actually really, really good. The post-launch support of Modern Warfare 3 is unlike anything we have ever seen for Call of Duty, which I know some people might be all like, oh, why do you need DLC all the time to enjoy the game, blah, blah, blah. This is just how Call of Duty is nowadays with its live service. This is just the era that we're in right now. Right out of the package, though, with Modern Warfare 3, I could totally see it being like a C, D, F tier Call of Duty game with the way that the campaign was. Not a lot of people cared for the campaign. I thought it was okay. The multiplayer is just fixing Modern Warfare 2, which again, wow, where have we seen that before? In the way they handled the zombies in the game, I was more open-minded to it because I had never played like Outbreak in Cold War. I will say round-based zombies is infinitely better than the Warzone zombies, and again, this is where we see Warzone spilling into over every single mode in Call of Duty nowadays. You had a couple of campaign missions that took place on the Warzone map. Zombies as a whole was literally on the Warzone map, but to me, if I haven't said it already a million times, my biggest focus is Call of Duty multiplayer. I know, which is a rarity nowadays. Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer is genuinely one of, if not the best multiplayer in the Warzone era. I would say Cold War beats it out just by a little bit because of how good the entire package of Cold War is when you compare it to Modern Warfare 3, but Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer is by far the best in the Warzone era. I do have my nitpicks with it, but overall, the way that Sledgehammer took care of that game's multiplayer every single week, every week, new event, every week, new aftermarket part in the game, every week, something new to do, something that's both objective driven to get people to come back and play the game, but also naturally. The challenge and natural incentives to come back and play the game to get new things and new things to do in the game was incredible for what Call of Duty is doing nowadays. We had amazing maps, amazing weapons, amazing events. Modern Warfare 3 was a game that if you let Sledgehammer actually cook, let them take care of the game over the course of the year, that's what we get. But again, Modern Warfare 3 was also the product of them being shoved onto the project because Infinity Ward didn't want to do the year 2. At least again, that's my understanding of the matter, that I don't know what happened. Sledgehammer was supposed to take care of the year 2 regardless. That was the rumor that we heard in season 1 back of Modern Warfare 22, so I don't know what the process was, whether Activision was just like, hey, Sledgehammer, you're working on year 2, you're doing that now. But under the circumstances of getting everything ready within 18 months and actually just correcting so many things about how Call of Duty is played with red dots, dead silence, the movement was much better than Modern Warfare 2019 and 22, and they also added the all-terrain boots, Slipstream in Black Ops 6. It's crazy when you add old Call of Duty foundational mechanics to the multiplayer. It's like, wow, the game plays better. Who would have thought? You don't need to have Warzone in multiplayer. It's crazy what happens. The multiplayer alone is what really puts it into A tier for me. I feel like realistically, it would probably sit in C tier or maybe bottom of B tier for maybe most players, but for me, A tier. And now the last Call of Duty that we got for right now is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now, again, the way that I'm planning it as of right now, sitting here on March 10th, I want to have a Black Ops 6 review-esque kind of video go up before this. If I do get it up, if I don't get it up, we'll have to see. When it comes to Black Ops 6, when you get at a base level out the package with campaign, I think the campaign's great. I do wish that they really leaned into more of a Cold War-esque kind of sequel because the campaign basically bled into Black Ops 3's campaign with this like mind-bending, altering experience. It's Black Ops 3's campaign done a little bit better, just with Black Ops Cold War characters kind of somewhat in the mix. So I really do wish there was more of an emphasis on like the more historically, I know it sounds weird to say, the historically accurate, or at least the more grounded take on a campaign setting, kind of like how we had in Cold War. Like it wasn't really mind-bending until the last mission of the game. But with Black Ops 6, they basically had us mind-tripping like it was the Black Ops 3 campaign, but it was done much better. The story actually intertwined and made sense with what was going on in the new Black Ops universe. Zombies in Black Ops 6 is actually really well done in my opinion. I totally again see why people were saying, oh, Cold War Zombies is so easy. Yeah, Black Ops 6 Zombies is a really good mix of Cold War and Black Ops 3, and I really enjoy it. The maps that we had at launch, Liberty Falls and Terminus, were great. Things like the Tomb and Citadel are also really enjoyable maps. I don't know if we're supposed to get another new Zombies map with Season 3, but we'll see. Regardless though, I really do enjoy BO6 Zombies. Now, the multiplayer. Well, this is where a lot of people really do have a problem with Black Ops 6 and would probably put it somewhere here where I'm leaving it now in like C tier, or maybe where people say, oh, this is like the worst Black Ops game. We could put that in D or F tier. The thing about Black Ops 6, I really do think is, once again, another byproduct of Warzone, where for the last 5 to 6 years, get close with me here for a second, right? Throughout this entire Warzone era of Call of Duty, right? Going back to Modern Warfare, going back to Cold War, Modern Warfare 2, whatever it might be, right? Everyone has been complaining, where is Shipment? Where is Nuketown? Where are the small map playlists 24/7? It is not a giant surprise at all that Treyarch decided, hey, let's go ahead and speed up the movement a little bit and make the maps a little bit smaller, make it like an action hero movie. In the most respectful way possible when I say this, Black Ops 6 I really do feel like has a lot to do with how the community has been responding to Call of Duty over the past couple of years. Do I think it's entirely the community's fault? No, because we all want different things. I totally get that. Not everyone's opinion is going to be the exact same, and that's totally cool. But when the vocal majority of people are complaining and bitching 24/7 for, where is Shipment? Where is Nuketown 24/7? I want to play small maps so I can level up my guns for Warzone. That becomes the problem. I'm not sitting here being like, leave the billion-dollar company alone or anything like that. No, but what I am saying is that, similarly enough to what I was talking about in MW3 and Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, we have so much more of an influence than we might actually realize. Congratulations with Modern Warfare 3. Everyone bitched about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered maps. Great, you just shot yourself in the foot. We're probably not getting any more remasters. Great, over the last 5 years, people have been talking about, oh, I just want Shipment. I just want small maps. You get small maps and then everyone complains about it. So it's like, we really gotta lock it in here. I understand why people are upset with Black Ops 6. The multiplayer to me is very chaotic. At the time of recording this video, again, I'm like level 550. I enjoy the feel of playing the game. Like, Black Ops 6, I think, is a solid foundational COD. Like, it's fine, but I totally understand the problems that people have with the game right now. The map design, the movement, everything is like a little overtuned. I feel like with the way that Omni movement is right now, it's very similar to Advanced Warfare, where jetpacks were crazy the first go around, and if they do continue Omni movement, that it's going to get adjusted and tuned as time goes on. It's crazy though how immediately the moment that Slipstream is actually added to the game, that the game actually feels so much better to play. It's crazy. You add something to the game that makes it feel like old Call of Duty and it just starts playing better. Wow. It's not perfect by any stretch of the means. I'm not saying that. I totally get it, but this is also something that I'm going to revisit at the end of the year because, again, the way that Call of Duty is right now in the live service era, that by the point in time the game ends is usually when it's at its best, which is kind of sad. We go through a whole year of waiting for updates. The game is actually in a pretty solid state by the point in time the next COD comes out. And I would like to hope that Black Ops 6 is going to be in a similar situation when we go to talk about it at the end of the year. Right now, though, I understand a lot of people's problems with it. Some of the biggest problems with Black Ops 6 right now is a whole AI debacle. Like, ever since they been doing AI voice lines, it was confirmed they're using, like, AI art for the game and repackaging it in bundles, things like that. The Santa Claus thing. The lack of communication on things like that is painting a very, very bad picture for Call of Duty, when I really do feel like, I don't know what it's like at that corporate level or why they can't say things or why they're so quiet about it, but if there was more transparency on the matter, I feel like things would probably go over better. But there's just been so much bad press about the AI replacing voice actors, everything like that, that is leaving a very bad taste in people's mouths about Black Ops 6. I think comfortably right now, Black Ops 6 could sit at the top of C tier, maybe bottom of B tier, but for me, I think I'll just leave it here for right now at the top of C tier. The game out the package, though, again, the first month of Black Ops 6 being out, I'm not gonna lie, Black Ops 6 could probably be like an A tier COD. It's the best COD that came out on launch that we've had in a long, long time. Again, the campaign is solid, Zombies is great, I really do enjoy it, but the multiplayer, people have really started to have their problems with it. People have really started to have their problems with the way that Black Ops 6 is being just perceived out there, with all the problems surrounding it. Out the package on launch, I do feel like it's one of the best we've had in a long time, but I could probably leave it there, bottom of B tier, maybe top of C tier. I enjoy the feel of the game a lot, but we're also at a point in time where it again is like, we need to wait and see what the game becomes. What's going to change with the game? What's actually going to happen with it, just because we're in that live service era of Call of Duty. So, yeah, wow, I think I'm actually done now. Wow, I just realized this took me over 2 hours to do. Oh, no, I didn't want this to be this way, but oh my god, I need to shut up about Call of Duty. The biggest thing when it comes to Black Ops 6 and the multiplayer are the maps, so we'll have to see what happens with it by the end of the year. Who knows what'll happen between now and whenever the next Call of Duty comes out, but yeah, for right now, I feel like that is my comprehensive Call of Duty tier list. There it is. The only correct Call of Duty tier list on this platform. The more I sit here and look at this, I really feel like I could maybe make a few nitpicks here and there or things like that, but for what it's worth, I feel like, yeah, this is pretty solid with where I sit with everything as far as my opinions go. So, yeah, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below if you guys made it to this point in the video, if you guys made it all the way through this yap session. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think about it. What is your Call of Duty tier list? A part of me is kind of waiting for the comments, especially about Modern Warfare 2019, but respectfully, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. All jokes aside, though, we are entitled to our own opinions here. By all means, keep it civil down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like this will hold me over for a really long time as far as what my thoughts are on Call of Duty and where I would rank all of the games. These here are just about my top 5 Call of Duty games, like COD 4, MWR number 1, MW2 at number 2, World at War at number 3, Black Ops 1 being number 4. It's really interchangeable between MW3 and Black Ops Cold War for being number 5 for me, but honorary mentions go to Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3. Like, there are, in my opinion, there are so many more good Call of Duties than there are bad. Even in the games that I don't think are very good, there are still good things about them. It's only these 2 Call of Duties down here where I'm really like, those are just not for me, but I can find the enjoyment in every single one of them. There is something good about every single Call of Duty out there, and that's the beauty of it. Even with all these games coming out over 20 years, there's always something for everyone, which is nice. So with that all being said, that's gonna go ahead and wrap up this extremely long overdue yap session. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Once again, thank you all so much for checking out this video. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. It's Enrage, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody.